Right, everyone, you join us from near Celtic Park. We're kind of sheltered, Stevie. We might be getting another downpour of rain pretty soon. It looks a little bit dark, but that's probably just because we're both wearing dark clothes. Celtic's performance certainly lit up the afternoon, didn't it?
How long were you waiting?
No, it genuinely wasn't planned at all. It's just such a natural. Pre-season is over, away, as
Thank
some
God.
might say. Is that the over kind of whelming feeling for you?
Felt like a game too far today. But
For you, it should say, not Celtic.
No, Celtic got what they needed out of it. It was a fine
Celtic
win.
were good.
I thought they were a fine win, clean sheet. And
It's going to be one of those days, everyone.
No, it is not going to be one of those days. Just for me as a fan, I just felt. You know what I think the big thing was last week against Blackburn that had that needle to it, as we talked about.
And it was the first game back.
I know, but I'm just saying it didn't feel like it felt like a competitive game. You know, it was for the first 65, 70 minutes. That did have that real pre-season friendly sort of vibe to it, I thought. But and to credit Celtic, I thought we were fine. We never looked troubled at all. We're up against Norwich, just like Blackburn last week when Blackburn only made their first subs after 65 minutes. Norwich were the same there today as well. So I think again they were taking it ultra seriously, but I think Celtic really reduced them to a couple of long range efforts in the first half, and for the most part we never looked troubled.
Yeah, I thought it was more of what we've seen over the course of pre-season. I thought first half we were excellent. We're obviously going to come and talk about the main man who I thought was brilliant today. But even away from Hatate, had O'Reilly, I thought had another good game. McGregor was probably a little bit quieter, but still, a strong performance. Maida I thought was really lively, scored a great goal. Not bad for a guy with no technical ability, apparently. Back heel.
Took it, so improvised it very well. I was stunned. I thought it was actually an own goal at first.
Keeper should probably saved it.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a bit cruel.
So that's maybe been
cruel on him.
We've both gone for that. We've both gone for it.
Nah, I thought he took it so well, he improvised it well, and I don't think the keeper really, I think it took him by surprise, just like everyone else, but we deserved it, because again, overall, on the basis of play, we just controlled that match, and I think that's the main thing that Ange's looking in these first halves, us to basically set the tempo, control the game as much as possible, because next week it's going to be like that as well. We're going to have a lot of the ball, and it's about what we do with it. And I think when we scored the goal, what I noticed was that at first, maybe the first 15-20 minutes when we were putting balls in, there was high towards Kyogo, there were long aerial balls we were putting in, but the goal we scored from was a low drill cross, and I think we have to see more of that.
Especially when Giacomakis is in the team, you can put balls higher into the box, but there was a few kind of lofted balls over the top today. Juranovic had one in the first half. I thought we started the game really well, we kind of dropped off, and I felt they then kind of got a bit of control in the game. Our passing just went maybe for 20 minutes or so, and Juranovic had one where he just, in that period, where he just put it over the top, and Ange was kind of exasperated. He kind of just a bit, not really angry, just more kind of like what's going on. And there was one late on in the game as well with Turnbull. So I think Ange, as much as we've beaten a team who were in the Premier League last season pretty convincingly today, a team who had a number of players I knew who are decent enough players by all accounts, I think Ange still thinks there's bits of that performance that we can improve on. I think that's a great thing. Rio Hatate though was just a
stunning
joke today.
It was excellent.
Thought it was interesting he and McGregor were kept on for pretty much all of the game.
I think that team that you saw today starting is likely going to be the team that plays next week though.
It's our strongest team at the moment without Starfield.
Hatate just picked up from his performance during the week, didn't he? And I know he didn't have an assist or a goal today, but his general play was a joy.
How many times did he nutmeg a player and with no space at all? It was like Rogic.
Yeah, and what I really noticed with Hatate as well, he just never looked flustered whatsoever. A couple of times Norwich players were in his face or he was surrounded, especially down towards Joe Hart in the first half. He get out of every situation so easy.
His balance is just a joke.
Yeah, and his close control and his skill outrageous. And I think after the way Rio Hatate ended last season, I think he'll also be so motivated to kick off so strongly next season, and that was a joy to see.
This season.
That's what I did say, did I not?
Next season.
Right.
You're still living.
Technically, I'm right. Next season starts on Sunday.
Okay, you're still living in the memories of last season. I can't blame you for that at all. You say Hatate's motivated, and he clearly is. We've all probably read his kind of online journal that he's written about, feeling that last season caught up with him a little bit, playing in Japan, moving to Scotland, all of the baggage that kind of came with that move. But I think beyond looking motivated, he just looks so free out there as well. Today, he just looked so relaxed. I feel like when you watched Hatate at the end of last season, he did look like he was kind of at times carrying the world on his shoulders, and maybe he just was with the move and everything. To me, out there watching him there and watching him on Wednesday in Poland, I just thought he looked so relaxed, so comfortable, taking the ball left foot, right foot, turning left, turning right, switching the ball. He had 3 or 4 80-yard maybe not 80 yards, 40-yard passes.
NFL, aye.
He had 40-yard passes that were on the money, like switched out to Juranovic, switched out to Greg Taylor. I thought he was great to watch today. And you watch him today and you just think that midfield with him, O'Reilly, and McGregor, is just the balance in there, I think, is perfect. I know players like Turnbull and Mooy, I think, will have something to say about it, but those three right now, I mean, that's a great midfield.
Yeah, the midfield that we saw starting, I do think, is the one that Ange's going to go away, and as you say, balance was key.
Yeah.
I just felt whenever Hatate was roaming forward positionally, you saw McGregor always covering, you saw O'Reilly covering when McGregor pushed forward. The three of them were really intricate in their patterns today, and I just honestly feel next Sunday when we're playing Aberdeen, that's the one that Ange's going to go away. But I think as well, you've got the pressing there, you've got like key passing, but you've got enough of a goal threat, because if you get Hatate and around, Hatate and O'Reilly can both score screamers, we know that. Yeah. McGregor's no shy of a goal if he's around that sort of 18-yard area. But yeah, I think that's shaping up very nicely today for what we saw going into the domestic campaign.
Yeah, I think usually when you watch that midfield, McGregor is the one who's controlling the game, driving it. Today for me it was Hatate, and that's nothing against McGregor. I just thought Hatate today just was everywhere. You know, he absolutely ran that game against a pretty decent midfield. Kenny McLean aside, had to get that in there. And do you want to get the Grant Hanley slagging? Any Grant Hanley slagging?
I didn't actually notice enough to slag Grant Hanley today.
That's a slagging in itself, I suppose.
Yeah, I know. But nah, I think even today, I mean, we just looked so controlled. We looked very assured of ourselves, and I think a lot of that was down to the fact that Hatate was so confident. So confident even, and a lot of the play just went through him, Hamish. But yeah. I'm looking forward. I think, as I keep saying as well, and I'm being consistent, and I don't go over the top, even though we've won here. And even if we did get beat, I wouldn't be slating the players too much. It's
all about the performance.
It's not majorly about the performance. It's about them getting minutes in the legs so that they can hit the ground running next week. But results like this don't hurt. And I can't wait. It's now got me at the stage where I think we've rounded off pre-season well, but I'm buzzing now for next Sunday. I'm really looking forward to that, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think we know where we are now, and I think we're going to hit the ground running next Sunday for fun. We should maybe save this chat for the end of the video, where we come back and just chat about Aberdeen at the end, if we remember. Thought Stephen Welsh was good today.
He was, but equally I thought when Jens came on, he looked assured as well.
What did you think of Jens when he came on?
Really comfortable in the ball.
Yeah.
I was thinking, well, when was the last left-footed central defender we had? Are we actually getting back to Charlie Mulgrew?
Yeah.
I was thinking that during the week, because it was can't believe how far back we've gone, because Boyata, Simunovic,
Sviatchenko, he was right-footed.
He was right-footed, scored that screamer against Ross County, mind. But yeah, I think Jens looks so comfortable in the ball, and when you see him as well, big guy, looks very big physical presence.
He's got similar stature to Julian, doesn't he? It was actually funny seeing those two come on together.
But yeah, Jens looks so comfortable in the ball as well. Good passer of it. And again, only one game. Can't really read too much into it. A lot like Aaron Mooy with a lot of the moaners round about me today.
Go on. The first thing you mentioned to me, go on, get it off your chest.
I just felt a lot of people...
You've got all the Aussies backing you here, by the way. Thousands of them.
About time. A lot of people, Hamish, just around, certainly not just around me, but around the ground, but awfully, they were groaning a lot whenever Mooy...
He had two kind of, one miscontrol and one pass.
He had 5-10 minutes a day, and it wasn't exactly anything to write home about. But I mean, again, as I keep saying, if that's a domestic game, even in his first match, you can't. I mean, he's not played for how long. You can't just expect him just to be lighting that game up today.
I think he's a bit away from being able to start.
I do
for
too
us
as well. You can't read into Mooy whatsoever there at all. Mooy's going to be more of a presence and an option for us the later in the season. See, when we get to that horrible winter run, obviously this season with the World Cup, that's a wee bit different, but when we get into that October-November stage, and after that, that's when Mooy will come in, when guys like maybe McGregor and O'Reilly are a wee bit fatigued. He'll be then good to go after that, and I've got honestly no problem with Adam Mooy signing whatsoever. But I think today, anybody reading into that performance, I don't want to say needs a head check, but give the guy a bit of a break.
Yeah, the one thing we probably can read into, well, I can certainly know about it, is that he came on and moved straight into the deeper role with Callum McGregor moving one up. Now he came on for Real Hatate. Turnbull was the other guy in the midfield. So if Mooy was coming on, for Hatate, he could equally very easily just have come on as a straight replacement for Hatate. McGregor could have stayed in his usual role, but he did go to the base of that midfield and McGregor moved forward. I'm reading stuff into it. I'm already reading into the fact that that's where Ange sees Aaron Mooy. We know that Ange likes flexible players. I think Mooy will play in more than one position. I think he'll play in that deeper one and the one further forward. But I thought it was interesting today that when the minute he came on, it was McGregor who moved up.
And bear in mind as well, you know how much I'm always dying to see McGregor like in that Livingston performance, where he was right in the centre, like between defensive mid and attacking mid, or pushing on towards the last third. He's such a threat. Yeah. Whenever he goes and moves towards the last third every time against other teams. So if it now means that Mooy coming in can let McGregor sort of hurt teams more instead of dictating play so much for us, then great, because I think he's brilliant at it.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting. Bernabei, can we have a wee chat about Bernabei? Because I think you watch him and like Greg Taylor was good again today, but I just think you watch Bernabei and right away you see why we've signed him. You see that he just does things quicker. He's just got that little bit more pace and speed than Greg Taylor. The one thing I would say though, at the moment, I feel like Greg Taylor's quite kind of polished, reliable. Bernabei does like something really well, like he'll kind of beat a guy. He's very tricky, very good kind of attacking fullback, but his passing seems a little bit off at the moment. Erratic. And I think it's, to be honest, I mean, it's been kind of 3, 4, 5 pre-season games now, and it's kind of been similar in all of them. He does something really well, and then his passing was off. I think it'll come good in no time. I just think it's known where your teammates are.
But I also think, Hamish, it's with the pre-season matches as well, subconsciously players know there's not too much riding on it as well. But if that's a domestic game and you've got points on the board to win, and say Rangers, we already expect they'll probably win on a Saturday, so we'll be playing catch up for that sort of one game, then right away we can't afford to get into that game with any mistakes. Every player's got to be in the ball. So I certainly reckon when it comes to the domestic matches, these players will be switched on. The manager will demand it, because we demand it.
Because, I mean, he's demanding it today, but I know what you mean. It's that kind of artificial, isn't it?
Back of your mind, isn't it? You know that a bad back, like for example with Joe Hart today, like we saw in the first half, holding onto the ball and he nearly got dispossessed. Right, a lot of people will be moaning, going, come on, but
probably puts it long in a competitive game, doesn't he? Under pressure,
and that's what I'm saying. So even with things like that, a lot of fans are probably more on edge if that ball goes back to Joe Hart again. But they know again, it was just there wasn't a lot riding on it, and I think subconsciously for a lot of players in that game today, that's what you're never going to be getting. So any like major players in panic stations, you know. So I think Bernabei will settle in fine, but it will take a wee bit of time considering where he's came from too.
Yeah, it just seems, just watching him, like it's just not quite been up to speed with where his teammates are going to be. He does something really well. He's really comfortable in possession, and then he just has like a simple pass and it just goes a bit awry. So nothing to worry about. I think Greg Taylor will start on Sunday against Aberdeen. As you said at the start, I think the team that started today will probably start barring any kind of injuries or whatever. But I think in general, you know, a lot to be excited about in that team. David Turnbull scored as well against the team that he very nearly signed for in 2019.
That's right.
I think he had like medicals at Norwich. I don't know if he was photographed wearing a Norwich shirt inside their stadium like good old Celtic all those years ago, but funny to see him scoring against them as well. Any other kind of players you want to pick out for the performance today?
I just had a wee note to say, like when Abada came on, he looked really lively as well. There was a couple of times where Abada was looking for Turnbull. I noticed second half especially, when Turnbull got the ball, he was looking like Abada was like so rapid, looking for the ball to be launched over, and twice he did seem to get really frustrated for the fact that it wasn't a first time ball launched over the top.
He's better running in behind. Like, see when he kind of gets the ball and he's running at a defender, I never feel as confident. I always think Abada running in behind onto a through ball is when he's at his best.
But that's what he was looking for. A lot of times he was looking for Turnbull to just play the ball over the top first time, but I think he had the legs on the Norwich left back at the time. But no, he never done it, and twice he was looking sort of visibly frustrated. But again, I mean, when it comes to domestic games, man, Abada's going to be such a huge impact player for us, I reckon. Yeah,
clean sheet, important. I got the impression after, and I'm already seeing the looks he's given me here.
I respect your opinion.
I just think looking at pre-season, we've conceded, I think, like obviously the first game against those Farmers that we would have got a game for, we got a clean sheet that day. But in terms of the core kind of first team, it feels like pre-season all of our games have been like 3-2, 2-2, all of that. It was good, I think, for us to get a clean sheet today and to win 2-0 as well. It feels like the kind of perfect end point to pre-season. Obviously, none of it matters, as John said the other night. All that matters now is what happens from Sunday onwards, really. But I think you look at that as being a pretty successful pre-season. Unbeaten, again, doesn't really matter, but can't be a bad thing for the team's kind of confidence, their morale. I think, you know, we've seen a lot of really strong performances. I think you're looking at all the players and there's not really anyone of our main players that you're kind of thinking still needs to get up to speed. I look at Kyogo, and yes, he can probably offer more, but you know, if he scores a hat-trick next Sunday, you're not going to be going, where did that come from? Hatate looked right at it, O'Reilly, McGregor's looked at it from the first game he was back. Centre backs, I thought Carter Vickers had a better game today. As I've already said, I thought Welsh was for me probably our best defender today. Jens came in, you know, Mooy still to come in, so I think it was good.
No, it's, again, can't hurt winning a game like that. Not conceding. I don't think any of the players will be coming out that thinking, we could have done better, or here's where we could have improved and all that. I think on the surface of it speaks for itself, and I mean, I'm here, get really nothing to criticise the team about. I've got.
Can't wait till we get a bad result. That's going to be the one. I can't wait to have.
It's all about the domestic ones for me. Really.
Yeah. Next Sunday you'll be buoyant.
Next Sunday I'll be so.
After we scud Aberdeen 5-0.
Class. It'll be so good.
Dare I say Willie Collum?
I had that. I had that in my notes.
It was a strange performance, wasn't it?
I just knew right away as soon as I saw it. We should have had a penalty, I think, at one point in the second half for a handball.
Yeah.
I think maybe Norwich could have as well, but I just burst out laughing when I remembered who the ref was.
There was one when Hatate was dragged to the ground, and he did in the second half, and he just didn't give a free kick, and Ange was just stunned.
Really is great to see William back. I look forward to more, if not worse, performances.
You should have heard the groan I gave it when the teams came out and it was him. I actually forgot friendlies you had Scottish ref, because it was Clancy last week.
It was,
and he was the
brave Kevin Clancy.
Right, I think we're out of chat, everyone. Roll on the competitive stuff when we can do longer videos. I don't even know how long we've been on for. There's only so much you can really say, but
listen, I'm no moaning, and even if we did get beat today, I'd have been the exact same on here.
Yeah.
And I've been very consistent with the pre-season friendlies. I've been consistent on my mindset and my attitude towards them. It is just about the players getting minutes in the legs so that they can hit the ground running for when it matters next week.
And it starts mattering next week, as you say.
Yep.
Plenty of football to come. Yes, we will say goodbye for now. There were a couple of issues with last night's upload, stuff to do with sound and people actually not being able to watch the video, which some would say is a blessing when we're on especially. It was YouTube's end. That is not us just passing the buck. It was YouTube's end, but we're doing our best to try and solve these issues going forward. Hopefully you're able to watch and hear this, and I'm just thinking if they are watching and hearing this, then there's no issues at all. So that was kind of a bit of a moot point, but we'll say goodbye. Stevie, I think we'll have you maybe next Sunday after the Aberdeen game. Take care, everyone. Speak to you soon.